Mexico delivered one of the most convincing statements of the FIFA World Cup knockout stage, defeating Ecuador 2-0 in front of a roaring home crowd that transformed the legendary Estadio Azteca into the fortress Azteca supporters have long celebrated. Fueled by relentless fan energy and a disciplined tactical performance, El Tri booked their place in the round of 16 while reminding the rest of the tournament that playing in Mexico City remains one of football's most intimidating experiences. With more than 80,000 passionate supporters creating an electric atmosphere from kickoff to the final whistle, Ecuador found themselves battling not only an organized Mexican side but also one of the loudest crowds in World Cup history. Every tackle, interception, and attack was greeted with deafening cheers that seemed to lift Mexico's intensity throughout the evening. For decades, Estadio Azteca has been regarded as one of world football's most iconic stadiums. Situated more than 2,200 meters above sea level, it has witnessed countless legendary moments, and this latest victory only added another memorable chapter. Mexico embraced every advantage available. The players pressed aggressively from the opening whistle, forcing Ecuador into rushed decisions and limiting their ability to build attacks through midfield. Every successful defensive action generated another wave of noise from the stands, creating an environment that continuously unsettled the visitors. The home supporters never allowed the intensity to drop. Even during quieter phases of possession, chants echoed throughout the stadium, ensuring Ecuador had little opportunity to settle into any rhythm. The breakthrough eventually arrived after sustained pressure from El Tri. Following a series of dangerous attacks down both wings, Mexico finally found the opening they deserved with a clinical finish that sent the Azteca crowd into celebration. The goal reflected the team's aggressive approach, quick ball movement, intelligent positioning, and decisive finishing inside the penalty area. Ecuador had defended courageously for long stretches, but the constant pressure eventually proved too much. Once Mexico gained the lead, confidence flowed through the squad, while Ecuador were forced to push further forward in search of an equalizer. To their credit, Ecuador refused to surrender. The South Americans enjoyed their best spell midway through the second half, committing more players into attack and testing Mexico's defensive organization with several dangerous deliveries into the box. Their midfield began finding more space, creating opportunities that briefly quieted the home supporters. Mexico's back line, however, remained composed throughout the pressure. Timely interceptions, disciplined positioning, and several important saves from the goalkeeper preserved the lead during Ecuador's strongest moments. Each successful defensive play only reignited the stadium, with supporters responding as though every clearance were a goal of its own. As Ecuador committed additional numbers forward, gaps inevitably appeared at the back. Mexico capitalized brilliantly. A swift counterattack sliced through Ecuador's stretched defensive shape before a composed finish doubled the advantage, effectively ending the contest. The second goal perfectly showcased the tactical maturity of Javier Aguirre's side, absorbing pressure before striking with devastating efficiency. The eruption inside Estadio Azteca was extraordinary, as thousands of fans celebrated knowing qualification was now firmly within reach. Beyond the goals, Mexico impressed through their collective discipline. The midfield controlled possession for significant periods while also working tirelessly without the ball. The defense remained compact, frustrating Ecuador's attacking players and rarely allowing clear-cut opportunities. Perhaps most impressive was Mexico's mental composure. Knockout football often brings anxiety and rushed decision-making, but El Tri maintained patience throughout the contest, trusting their structure and eventually wearing Ecuador down. Several players delivered standout individual performances, yet this victory ultimately belonged to the entire squad, whose teamwork proved decisive from start to finish. Although eliminated, Ecuador leave the tournament having shown resilience and determination throughout their campaign. They never stopped competing despite the overwhelming atmosphere and remained committed to attacking football until the closing stages. Against many opponents, their performance may well have produced a different outcome. Ultimately, however, Mexico's quality, tactical discipline, and remarkable home support proved impossible to overcome. Much will be written about Mexico's tactical execution, but the supporters deserve enormous credit for their influence. From hours before kickoff until well after the final whistle, The atmosphere inside Estadio Azteca demonstrated why home advantage remains such a powerful factor in international football. Every chant, every celebration, and every roar added another layer of pressure on Ecuador while energizing the Mexican players. Many visiting teams have struggled inside this famous stadium over the decades, and Ecuador became the latest to experience its unique intensity. Mexico's convincing victory sends a clear warning to the remaining contenders. With confidence growing, the squad playing disciplined football, and one of the world's most passionate fan bases behind them, El Tri appear capable of making a deep run in the tournament. Their blend of experienced leadership, tactical organization, and attacking quality makes them one of the knockout stage's most dangerous teams. If Fortress Azteca continues to produce atmospheres like this, every opponent entering Mexico City will know they face far more than 11 players. They will face an entire nation determined to push its team toward World Cup glory.